everybody. I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are on episode 78, part 8, the last part of the R's.
Hey.
But, right? But before we get started, please like the video if you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel for us, and of course hit that bell icon if you want notification of any future content.
Or follow the link below and you'll see all of our social media.
Yeah.
So we got 10 games.
Okay, what do we got today?
2 of them are just different versions of the same game.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we're going to get the sinking one out.
The what?
This is Rukshuk.
Did you say the sinking one?
Yes, because it's going to sink off the table.
Oh my gosh. You did not like this one.
Well, it's a
Yes. Dexterity.
Dexterity. Jeez. It's a dexterity game, and I'm not a real big fan of dexterity
You're not.
games.
You're not.
And
Okay.
this one, I think she had glue or something to making hers, but
I was pulling from the same bag you were. Okay, so the concept with this game, very quickly, it's a dexterity game. You are building rock formations. It comes with a whole deck of cards that shows you all these different formations, which are all on the score pad. So each formation scores a little bit differently based on the colors that are on the card. Each card indicates where specific color stones need to be placed if you want the extra points for them. So,
or if you have that color.
if you have that color piece, yeah, that's very true. So everybody starts with, or everybody throughout the entire game, everybody has 3 of these pieces, and I don't remember what they were called, but
They're like ledges or
yeah,
bridges
they
or
are bridge. They're bridge rocks. It's what you said, wasn't it? Okay.
Yep.
And then everybody takes 5 other rocks from the bag after you take all the bridge pieces out of different colors. And there is blue, and there is yellow, and there's green, and there's this really super light purple in here somewhere.
Yep.
But it's like almost impossible to tell it from the white. There it is. Side by side you can tell, but normally, yeah. So the idea with this one is you are looking at a card and you are trying to build this formation, hopefully using those colors. It tells you that the white is an easy rock to use. The blue is medium, the green gets harder, the purple I think is a little harder than that, and the yellow is impossible. Okay. So this one wants a purple on the bottom. Here's my purple rock. I'm going to try it with the purple, but I don't have to use the purple. And then I have to put a bridge stone out. See, the purples do not work well. I have to put a bridge. Right there. Okay. Then I have to put, oh no, I don't have to put a bridge yet. I have to put this out. Nope, come on. I have to put this out. This out. Maybe? Maybe not. Yeah. Okay, see? I took the glue off, apparently.
You had to stick them.
I had to stick them. Of course, I was using, there we go. I'm going to turn them sideways. There you go. There's no rule saying you can't turn them sideways.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to do that. And then I have to try to have a red. Is there a red? What is that red?
That's blue. That's
oh, is
purple.
that blue? Oh, man. I was already done. Okay, there we go.
See, it has the legend on the
Oh,
side.
it
there
does.
as to
Okay.
What. It's a blue one.
Okay, that looks purple.
Then
to
it's
me.
a purple one.
Then it's the purple one. Oh boy. Then it's the purple one.
With a white and green one on top of it.
That's probably not happening with that purple rock, because that purple rock is very hard. Oh, well.
There you go.
So you get points based on how high you make it up the chart. All of your white stones that you used are 1 point each. All of your blue stones are 2 points each. Your green, if you have them, are 3. Your purple, wherever it went, is 4 points. And if you're able to make this yellow work, it's 5 points. I don't think that's going to be an easy rock to use in any of these formations, even unless you put it way up on top. If you use the correct color in the correct location, you get double points.
Yep.
I mean, it sounds like an easy game. The rules are pretty simple. Match the formation, done. You had a rough time with this.
It's a ridiculous game.
It's not ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
It is a dexterity game that is very challenging. that being said, we are going to let it go because I think, if I put it on right, jeez. I think it requires perfectly stable tables.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just not going to work.
It's not going to work on a stable table either. Never did we build the entire thing.
No, because you're in a time limit. That was why I had the timer up for. You're on a time limit the entire time. When the timer runs out, everybody has to stop. And you score points based on how high you got. It's a challenging one. So we're going to let it go. Just because I just don't see it. I don't see it working. It's not that I don't see it coming off the shelf. I don't see it working at an event. So anyway, Rukshuk. It is going to find a new home. All right.
Now we got Rummy 21.
Okay. I was going to say what? We enjoyed this.
Yes, we did.
Until
that last round.
Okay. I might note, this came out in 2001, and we were both very shocked at this beautiful neoprene mat that comes in it. Now, mind you, this is no bigger than a mouse pad.
Yeah.
This is literally a mouse pad.
It's just the fact that it had a neoprene mat in a game from 2001.
That just shocked us. Okay. This one plays very similar to Rummy. Standard card game of Rummy. It comes with your deck of cards for Rummy. Get them out. There you go. It comes with a standard Rummy deck. What?
No.
Okay. It also comes with a set of Rummy tiles. So this is a combination of the card game of Rummy and Rummikub. Rummikub, cub, whatever. However you want to pronounce it. So the way this works, though, is that you have this set of tiles, and they show in the directions to have them completely circling the mat like
kind of like
patchwork. Thank you. I started to say pandemic, and I'm like, that's not right. Kind of like patchwork. But we did that for our first round. And then after that, we just kind of piled them off to two sides and would draw from them when we needed to. So on your turn, you start the game with having 5 of these tiles out around the board. Like, okay, well, I'll come back to that one. You know, a spades and a diamond, and you put them wherever they go based on what the suit is. Everybody starts with 10 cards in their hand. You are making standard runs or standard sets. To enter the game, you have to have a minimum of 21, hence the name Rummy 21. Jokers are worth 1 point when they're laid down. There are joker tiles and joker cards that you can lay in to any suit, or to any set or run, I should say. And these can be replaced by your opponent with the proper card. You're going to give your opponent some points in the process, because on their own, these are only worth 1 point laid down.
Yeah.
But the actual card will be worth face value, potentially. So the real trick to this one, and again, without going into a ton of detail, the real trick with this one is that every suit or every run or set has to have both cards
and tiles.
Yes. So with what's out here, and granted I don't have a whole lot out here, I could do Jack, Queen, and then I could pull this draw 1, this wild, as either my ace or my 10. No, I'm sorry, either my king or my 10. Whichever side I put it on determines what it is, but until it's closed in, it's not locked in.
Right.
So if I put it here, my opponent can still put a 10 down and take this and just throw the 10 over here. But that was the tricky part of this, is that everything
Making sure you
has
had
to have
tiles
both.
and cards. Yep.
Yes, because it was so easy just to look at your hand and go, okay, I got it. Oh, wait, no, I don't.
Nope.
You know, it was just, I really liked this one. I really, really enjoyed it. We're going to take this one over to Coopple of Nerds next weekend, 2 weeks from now, something like that. Because Mary is a Rummy nerd. So she's looking forward to playing it. Anyway, super fun version of this game. We are going to hold on to this one. Even if it never comes off the shelf, we really enjoyed this one. So I can see us pulling it off the shelf to play again. spend half the video turning boxes around.
Mm-hmm.
That is Rummy 21, and it will stay. All right.
So speaking of Rummikub or
Might as well go to those.
Rummikub or whatever,
I am
Cub,
not
whatever it is.
sure
I think
how-
it's Rummikub.
I think it's Rummikub. Oh, that one's upside down.
We have the base one, and then we have the
Yes.
Disney one.
So, and they play 99% identical. There is one little piece to this one that's slightly different, and I'll come to that. So this one here, it's your standard Rummikub game. It is Rummy with tiles. You are drawing, you start the game off with so many tiles on your board, and you are making sets and runs. The trick is though, when you cannot add. I think the rules stated that was the one thing that was weird, is you could not play off of your opponents at all. You had to do your own sets.
Yeah.
Whereas with the card game, you're constantly playing off your opponents, and even in Rummy 21, you could play off of your opponents. Matter of fact, no, the only way to play off your opponents in that one was either to replace a wild or your last card to go out with.
Yeah.
That was the only way to play off of an opponent. This one you couldn't play off of an opponent at all, which I found interesting, because regular Rummy we always did. Now, that being said, I've never read the actual rules for regular Rummy, so maybe we're playing it wrong. I don't know. So this one is your basic Rummy game, just with tiles. There is a timer. I think this is, we never used the timer.
Yeah, it was just because you're drawing tiles or picking tiles in that, and you're going.
It's just,
it might take a minute to. And
this is just
a way
to
to speed up the
alleviate
game.
AP.
Yep.
Okay. This one comes with this really weird case that it's supposed to all clip together and hold the whole game inside, and we never could quite figure it out. And yet these pieces, once you unlock them, all become your player boards, which are nice little player boards, but we never could quite figure out how it was supposed to go together. Okay, but anyway, that is Rummikub. We are going to hold on to this one. I feel like it's a very classic game. So therefore, we will hold on to this one. It's a very nice version.
Yep.
The children's version, the only difference with this, other than, okay, there we go. You still get your little player cards, or your player boards. The tiles are all, of course, cardboard and Disney themed. But these ones, in addition to numbers, and this is more geared toward your younger children who are not yet able to count 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. This one comes with icons on your numbers. So now obviously if you're going to make a set of all 7s, they can tell those are all the same number, even if they can't count 6, 7, 8. However, when it comes to doing 6, 7, 8, and I hope you can see this, I'll try to take a picture of it. I do not have a picture of it. There are little symbols down here in the corners that match up, so that the younger kids can just match the symbols up, and they know they've got a valid run. So I thought that was a really neat little piece to get kids engaged early using these symbols, even though they can't count. That's really the only difference, was it added those symbols to make it more friendly toward younger kids. So, but we are going to let this one go because I don't feel like I need 2 versions of it.
Yeah.
And we don't gear toward children so young that they're unable to count. So we're going to gift this to Doug and Mary. Rummikub is one of Mary's absolute favorite games. And she commented that this one is kind of an interesting way to get kids hooked young. So we're going to gift it to them so she can hook their, what are they, 6 and 4, 5 and 7? I don't know. They're 2 young ones. So anyway, but that is Rummikub Kids Edition. It is going to leave the collection, but I think we have a good home for it already.
Okay.
All right.
Next we have Ruckus Steel.
Ruckus Steel Family Edition. Now, and when I looked it up in BGG,
It
it's
just says
only under
Ruckus.
Ruckus. Yeah, it is not under
It
Ruckus.
just says Ruckus there.
And on the sides of the box,
this-
too.
it has
Yeah. I don't know where the...
See it, match it, steal it.
Well, there's a lot of that in this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, this is an 8 and up game.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. Okay, so here's your board. The only point of this board is that you are starting, everybody starts down here, and as you win each hand, as you are the first to go out of cards, you are moving up. If you are the first to go out, you get to move 2 spaces under certain conditions. If everybody else gets to move 1 space, again, under certain conditions. There are player pieces for every icon on this board, for each of the, and I think there's 12 different ones. If you land on your own person, if you can make it to your own person on your row, you get to move ahead 1 more space to any space. You don't have to have that. The conditions, well, you have this whole deck of cards. Everybody starts out with, I want to say it was 10 cards, 7 cards. I don't remember the exact number. When you're starting out your hand, and that's way too many cards, I know that, you are looking at all the cards in your hand, and you are immediately placing out pairs. If you have any pairs in your hand, okay, yeah, these have not been shuffled. If you have any pairs in your hand, you have to lay them down. Now, here's the trick. Your opponent, as they draw cards, because after everybody's laid down their pairs, then one by one, you're going to draw a card, and you're going to play any pairs you now have. But if you pull a card that faces in front of somebody else or that is laying on somebody else, you get to put your card on top of that and steal the whole stack. So there will ever only be 12 stacks out around the table. So these stacks are getting stolen left and right, just bouncing around the table. First player to go out gets to
move twice.
Gets to move twice, right. What were these for? What were the dice for?
Whoever went out got to roll them, and then they could steal those
You're
characters,
right.
which made it even worse.
Yes. So when you went out, which, I mean, honestly, when we played, it was mostly me. You roll the dice. If any of your opponents have one of the characters that came up, you get to steal 1 set of characters. And then you look at all the characters laying in front of you, and you get to move up 1 row. And then move up a 2nd row, provided you have those characters in front of you. Everybody else did the same thing, again, provided they had a character that was in that row in front of them. If they didn't have a character in that row, then they were stuck. They didn't get to move that round. I mean, it was okay. It was, we laughed, well, okay, let me rephrase that. I laughed about it. He did not.
Well, this is the one that I said that about halfway through the game, I realized there's no way to catch anybody. If somebody starts at least 2 to 3 rows ahead of you, there's no catching. 2
or 3 rows is easy. You just have to win a couple hands. With more players, I don't think it'll be so lopsided. That being said, it was totally luck of the draw.
I think with more players, you're going to have less and less characters in front of you to be able to move up if you're able to move up 1. And there was like 3 or 4 times I had no characters to move up. You would have almost all of them.
I did.
So yeah, I think with that, I think it's just kind of lopsided. Whoever jumps in that lead is going to keep it.
Maybe. I could see how it would change. I could see how it would change. But regardless, we're going to let this one go. I just don't think it was that interesting, honestly, for what we're trying to do. So anyway, that is Ruckus, and it's going to leave the collection. All right, next.
Next we have Runika and the 6-sided Spellbook.
I like this one.
I liked it a little more this time than I did the last time.
Gosh, you beat me. I still cannot believe you beat me last night. I had it. I just couldn't roll the dice right. The dice just would not cooperate with me last night.
Welcome to my world.
Okay.
That's any dice game for me.
Here's your board. Every player has 1 board. Oh, 1 more off of there. There we go. And then you have, and I think the
green one goes to the top.
The green goes to the top because air is lighter than all the other elements. This represents your elements: air, earth, fire and water. Yeah. So the idea with this one is you are trying to make potions or make runes to get cards. Cards are victory points. There is a deck of cards in here that are laid out. You've got 3 of them out at a time with various rune symbols on them or rune patterns on them, and you're trying to make your dice match these patterns in order to claim them. Once you've claimed them, they're worth victory points, and then there's a special power at the bottom of each card that gives you something either one time or permanently for the rest of the game. It gives you an ability once per turn. There are professors out that you can influence using one of the dice if you roll the right symbol. Yeah. And again, these give you a one-time power for that round, and then they clear. Once you have influenced all 4 of them, there's a 4th one down here, then you get to draw one of these scroll cards, and these are, again, hidden points for the end of the game.
Or certificates, I guess.
Certificates, yeah, I think that's what they were called.
Like that.
Yeah.
Well, it says Certificate of Merit on the back side of it.
That's true. So the dice, and this is really the crust of the game, is a dice drafting game. You pull out double the number of players, and then one by one, starting with the lead player, everybody's drafting a die. The goal is you want to get a lot of similar colors, but at the same time, maybe you're working on a couple different things at once. So you're trying to get the colors you need. Once you have your 4 dice, then you roll everything, and what you can do with them depends on their faces. There are symbols that will interact with the professors. There are ones that if they're in your rune, they will give you victory points. There are ones that let you turn this or make you turn this, because that kept happening to me last night. That was the one that I could not.
If you have that, you have to turn.
I had the color. I could not get. I kept getting that symbol.
That one.
And then there's and then on the fire die, there's a symbol that makes you have to replace one other die with this one
die on the point side.
And then you get to turn it to the point side, but you have to replace a die on your board. Now you can, out of your 4 dice, you can toss one away to re-roll one or all of the rest of yours. That's one way to get out of having to replace a die with that symbol. I feel like there's a lot of thinking in this one. It is very thinky, because in order to put the dice on, and here's the tricky part, you're trying to make these patterns with these dice, but you're having to push them on, like the blue has to come from the blue side. I can push it all the way over by putting more dice on, but if I need that dice over here, I can't just push it on from here or here. I can't just put it where I need it. It has to come from the side with the water on it. Now, eventually...
That's the reason you want to turn your board.
Exactly. So maybe I'll figure out a way to turn it twice, and now I can push it in here from the bottom. That's the thinky part of this game. It's not just what colors do you need. It's like, how am I going to get them where I need them? Because I can't just put them on. I have to push them from whatever side that element's facing. I really, really enjoyed this one. I remember enjoying it the first time we played it. I enjoyed it even more, even though I lost by 1 stinking roll of the dice. I would have had you by 1 point if that die had just cooperated with me, but it did not. Oop, I forgot to put the dice away. They got to go down on the bottom. Anyway, so this is Runika and the six-sided Spellbooks. I really enjoy this one, though. I like it. I do definitely want to play it some more. I think we have a lot of friends who would, I think, really enjoy the thinkiness of this one. But I'll tell you, man, the AP can be something fierce.
Yeah,
because there's a lot.
Because you're looking at the cards and you're trying to figure out where do I need to put that dice in to get that.
Now there was a simultaneous play option. They didn't recommend it for your first game. But I think once you get moving and you're a little more familiar with the game, the only problem I can see with that is the influence of the professors. Because once a professor is influenced, it can't be influenced again for the same turn. Only one die can get put there. So it may, we didn't look into that because this is only the second time we've played it. But that might be something to pursue because that would make the game much faster, I think. So, I don't know. But anyway, Runika and the six-sided Spellbooks, it is going to stick around. I want to explore this one some more. All right.
Next, we have Rubik's Race.
Okay, I know this one's been reissued. In a box a quarter of the size, or two-thirds of the size.
Yeah. This is kind of like, you remember the little puzzles, the little slide puzzles you get when you were a kid?
Yeah, it's like a cross between a Rubik's Cube and a slide puzzle.
Well, I don't really think even
Yeah,
Rubik's
well,
Cube,
that's true. That's what it's named after.
I know.
All right, so everybody has the exact same number of tokens, the exact same colors on their side of the board, and this just kind of locks in like so. And you're placing these tiles out. And and you start the game with them all placed out completely randomly all over your board, like so. Then after everybody has their tiles out, somebody shakes this guy up, gets it all into place, and now everybody has to match that pattern with all of these tiles that are laid out on their board.
Well, inside the...
Inside, yeah, well, that's just it. Because the tiles here are actually one row bigger than this is going to show. So, see, for instance...
You got to have them inside of that.
You've got to have
3 by 3 square.
Yes. So this pattern has to be matched inside this square. You have one empty hole. You can't pick anything up. Mm-hmm. You have to literally just slide things around and make them work. I was no good at this game whatsoever. Oh man, it was rough. And I don't know if it's just because it is older. Mine kept sticking and popping out of the track.
Oh, mine was doing the same thing.
Was it? Okay. I think it's an interesting game. Mm-hmm. However, I think it is a much older game, and I know they've reissued it. I would be curious to see if the new one plays any smoother. I don't think it's going to play better. It's the exact same game, but smoother, if that makes sense. We're going to let this one go, just because it's not in the greatest of shape, unfortunately. A lot of the tiles are damaged, the paint's missing, they're discolored. The little Rubik's box is very scratched up. It's hard to see through sometimes. So we're just going to go ahead and let this one go. If I come across a newer version, then we'll rethink it. But yeah, for now, Rubik's Race is going to leave the collection. All right.
Then we have Ruffhouse, whose box is on upside down.
What else is new? Okay. I'll be honest, even despite the picture on the box, I thought this game was going to be about dogs. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but I always figured this game was about, maybe because I was just looking at it from, that angle when it's sitting on the shelf.
I was just saying, the picture on me and the words told me it would be like a fighting game.
Well,
Didn't your parents always say, stop roughhousing in the house?
my brother was 10 years younger than I am. My sister and I did not roughhouse. I did not have older brothers and sisters no, my parents never told me that.
Well, it's because you were the oldest child.
We were told to stop tormenting our brother. But that was about it.
You never had hockey stick fights?
No. No.
You were deprived of a childhood.
Okay. Anyway. All right, so the way this one runs, there's 2 dice. You're rolling 2 dice. Everybody starts here in the corner. You start through Easy Street, and when you are on Easy Street, all of the orange spaces, you are rolling this
top.
Interesting top. Yes, I don't even want, it's not even a spinner. I think they call it a spinner in the rules. It's not a spinner.
It's a top.
It's a top. So you are spinning
Other
this
way.
guy. That is not the way that goes in. It goes in this way?
Yep.
Was
Nope.
it? Nope, it goes this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are spinning this spinner. Now, I don't know if you can see this. There are numbers carved in there, 0 to 4. So you're spinning this guy. Let's see if I can do this. Well, okay. Well, see, now that time I got no chips. That's better, sort of.
Now you got 2.
Now I got 2. So for every orange space you land on, you spin the top, and then you take that many chips from the supply. And you do this all the way up to here. When you get to the yellow, you have to commit. How many chips are you going to end the round with? If I have 5, I could say 5. Probably not going to happen. I would probably say 2, just to be safe. And then you take one of these cards. I think if you take this side, you take one of these cards that matches the number of chips that you're going to commit to. And then you keep going. You get a few more chances to get some more chips. Then you hit Big Trouble area. And when you land anywhere in big trouble, with the exception of the breaks, if you land anywhere in the big trouble area, you have to roll the 2 dice and you have to roll that number. If you land on the 7, you have to roll a 7. And if you do, you get to go to so far so good. You made it through the area. You made it through the big trouble area.
Yep.
If you land on the breaks, you don't have to do anything. But depending on which number you're on and which number you fail to roll, because you rolled it once. I never once rolled the number I had to. But depending on which number you're on and the number you roll, you lose either 1 chip or you lose half of your chips.
Rounded down.
Yeah. You could hit this area 2 or 3 times as you're going through. You could land in here several times. So, because it never fails, you'll roll a 3 when it comes to move, and then when it comes to hit that 3 or 4, you're going to roll a 12. Anyway, so once you make it through big trouble, you make it into the last chance area. And during the last chance area, you can decide to gamble. You can, if you land into one of these 6 spaces, you have to bid that number of chips. You put up that many chips. If I remember correctly, you spin the dial and you get, if you land on that number, you get double the chips back or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
We never played it.
You never had.
I think I always landed there.
Yeah, I think I landed here once, and the second time I decided I had exactly what I had bid. I wasn't risking it. So if you land here, you just get a chip. And then you get to over here. You stop immediately at the moment of truth. If you have the number of chips, minimum of the number of chips you bid, you turn those chips in, you take your card, and you just flip it over. And that 1 or 2 or whatever you bid now becomes a permanent point. And then you go again. And you keep doing this until somebody has 6 points. Simple as that. It wasn't a hard game.
No.
It was very luck-based. There are zap cards and, what was the other card? Zap cards and double cross. Double cross, you could basically take somebody's chips if they were over here on
once they
Street.
did the spinner, you could take their...
Before the spinner landed,
Yeah.
you had to double cross and then you got whatever they got, whether it be 0 or 4. There were zap cards that would zap somebody back to the breaks. So it made them kind of go through this whole area again. So, like I said, it wasn't a bad game. Can I have this the top, please? Thank you. We are going to go ahead and let this one go, though. I think it's just, it's not even so much that it's luck-based.
There wasn't much of a game there.
There really wasn't. It was roll the dice, do what the space said, hope you guessed right. That was pretty much it.
I think with this game, I think Candyland might have more of a game in it than this.
You think?
I think so.
Okay. I enjoyed the spinner, or the top. I enjoyed the top. But
if you could get it to go right.
If you could get it to run, yes, that's true. But we are going to go ahead and let this one go. But yeah, that is Ruffhouse. All right.
Next we have Rumis.
Ooh, box is opening.
This has a horrible box for it.
I do not like this box at all. I love the game, do not like the box.
It's a Chicago pizza box.
Yes. All right, so this game has been re-implemented into a re-released whatever as Blocus 3D. And we have Blocus 3D in the other collection, in the travel collection.
There's a couple games like this because there's a few other ones now that are out. Yep.
Oh, wow.
That are pretty much the same mechanism.
Similar. These Blocus 3D and Rumis are identical. The only difference between these two is that Blocus 3D has plastic plates with the cutouts in it. That's it. Whereas they both have the Lazy Susan top, because this is a Lazy Susan that turns, which makes it very nice when you're trying to see what you're doing. Basis of this one, everybody's playing a different color of these gorgeous 3D blocks. You're placing your pieces out somewhere on the board. Okay, let's do this legally. There we go. Somewhere on the board, trying to match whatever the pattern is. And there's 8 different patterns in here. The rule book shows that depending on your player count determines how high some of the patterns have to be. Others, it tells you right on it how high they are allowed to be. Like for instance here, this dark brown area can be a height of 5 or more. Here's only 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. So if I wanted to make sure that mine would be seen at the end of the game, I would place right there. However, that might block me in later because once I play, then the next player plays, I have to play off of my color. If I can't, I'm out. So that means that the next time I would have to lay a piece down, I have to be touching my own color in some fashion.
And that's illegal anyway.
Why?
Because
what I just did?
1.
Yeah, right. This would be illegal
1.
because this outside row is only 1. So, and you have to place on the outside edge at some point. So I would probably have to lay down in here somewhere so that everybody could kind of spread out a little bit. But on the first round, everybody has to touch your piece in some fashion. So you're laying all these pieces out and everything has to touch what's already there. And then from there, you start spreading out. And you are only allowed, well, let me rephrase that. You're not only allowed to touch your own piece. You have to touch your own piece. You can touch anybody else's.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, the way it's scored is you look down and you count the number of blocks you can see of your color, and that's your score. Simple as that.
Yep.
Sounds easy. It is not. It is a challenge. Okay, it's easy for you. I always lose this game. I love this game. I always lose it. Blocus 3D plays exactly the same, has the exact same blocks in it. Like I said, literally the only difference is this. I really like this one. We're going to hold on to it. This one is out of print. The Rumis specifically is out of print. It can still be picked up as Blocus 3D though. But save the box. I love the game. This box is worse for wear though. But anyway, that is Rumis. Worldwide award-winning strategy game. It's got a few awards. Yeah, anyway, it's going to stick around. Next.
And finally, the game that's not for us.
Well,
it has the lid wrong.
Spoil it already. Okay, so this is your basic movie
Head-to-head
pirate game.
Take that game.
Yeah, it really is. It is a take that game. Very head-to-head. It says 2 to 6, but it's really more or less a 2-player game. If you play 6 players, you're playing teams. So the whole basis of the game is these 2 ships. There are 2.
Yeah, fun packing that back up.
I know. We'll do it after we're done. There are 2 pirate ships. I mean, the ships are gorgeous. I love the artwork.
Yeah.
I love
the artwork and all this. This is
it's beautiful.
When it came out, it was a Cool Mini or not.
True. Is it still by Cool Mini? This version is. I don't know if
Well, do you know who Cool Mini or not is?
Oh, it's Simon now.
This is Simon, yes.
Or Come On, or whatever.
It's Simon.
I know. Okay, so you have these 2 beautiful ships, and the second ship goes right here, side by side, and then you have gangplanks that attach the ships. The whole premise of this game is that, let me find them. Oh, they're probably
what are you
in
looking for?
The
factions and stuff?
Well, these
minis?
guys. Yeah, the minis. So you have these 2 different factions, and you have the blue faction, and there are cards labeling the different factions. I don't offhand remember what they are. And then there is the purple faction. All of these minis are different. Well, let me rephrase that. There are different molds.
Yeah, there's different molds.
There's different molds for each faction, which is kind of neat. Each player has up to 5 heroes that they're playing. 5 of their are they called heroes? I don't feel like pirates are heroes, but maybe. But each player has 5 different leaders. We'll just call them that. 5 different leaders that they're playing. They can play up to 3 at any point. There are decks of cards there are 10 cards in each deck that are similar, and then the other cards in your deck are more specialized for your faction.
Yeah.
There is also a Kraken that could possibly come out based on card play and dice rolls. There is a Kraken that comes out. That is the Kraken tentacles. There's the Kraken is right here. There's also a Sea Dragon that comes out based on card. That was based on card play.
Yep.
I mean, it's a pretty neat game. I will give it that. I remember I enjoyed it for the most part. I had an easier time with my dice rolls, though. The battles are all dice rolls.
Yeah.
So it's very, very luck-driven in that aspect. And I had an easy time with the dice rolls. You did not.
I did not.
You did not.
I was horrible because I would come out and I'd have everybody out, but I'd be so far away I would only be able to advance, and then you'd come in, you have hellacious dice rolls, and almost wipe
you out.
At least one area almost completely out where I would have set up as like, this is going to be a great attack when I go to attack, and you'd wipe it out. And then I just start all over again.
All of these guys are minions. Their whole point is to take your focus. They're going to be wiped out. The next round, you're going to put more out. Problem is, they keep starting on the ship. And it takes a round. They only move one space per turn. So it takes a little while to get them where you need them to be. In between those two times, I kept wiping them out. So,
yeah, and you've got a deck cannon where you're shooting over at everybody, and you took that out of me while I was trying to get something else set up. Yeah, I did not have a great game at this one. I did not enjoy it at all.
Nope. This was given to us by a friend. We moved it over to the travel collection some time ago, just because it just isn't our time of game. Yeah, I can see the appeal to it. I can see why it's very popular. Well, it has. I think I looked it up before we started filming. It was a 6.9 on BGG. But I can see why people like it. It's just not for us.
Not for us.
Yeah.
And it can play up to 6 players, so you got 3 on each team.
Well, you can play up to three leaders at a time. Heroes, whatever they're called. I don't remember what they're called now.
Well, I think they suggested in there, if you're playing a 6-player game, one take one into the boat, somebody in the middle, and one take the other into the boat.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Because that's where the planks are at.
Yes.
Anyway, so.
Yeah. So, interesting game. Just not for us. We are going to leave it in the travel collection, though, because I do see why it is a popular game. And it is very well done. The artwork is beautiful. The miniatures are gorgeous. Yeah. And that's it. That is it for this episode. Short and sweet, I hope. I don't know what time we started. Anyway, that is it for the R's. We've got one backup video to do. And then we are off to the S's finally.
Yay.
Yay.
We'll be there for 2 years.
There's
a lot of S's.
We have 173 S's. So yeah, we're going to be there for a minute.
Currently, unless we pick other things up.
That's your fault if we do. You are the one who keeps going shopping. Might I point out the box from Noble Knights we received yesterday?
I was just spending the credit we had at Noble Knights, so don't blame me.
And then some. Anyway.
Anyway, until then, we'll see you at the next one.
Yeah.